see where the body is laying, and now go quickly and tell his disciple then that he has risen from the dead, and he is going ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there. Remember what I have told you." The woman ran quickly from the tomb. There they were very frightened, but also filled with great joy. And they rushed to give the disciples the angel's message. And as they went, Jesus met them and greeted them. And they ran to him, grasped his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Don't be afraid. Go tell my brothers, to leave Galilee, and they will see me there." Matthew 28, 1 through 10. Now, everyone has a cross with their name on it to bear. Okay? We all have a cross to bear with our name on it. Okay? Okay? Now, as I mentioned to you earlier, in order to know the power of Jesus' resurrection, we have to know the power of his suffering. Okay? You're either going to suffer as a slave to righteousness, which is doing what's right in the sight of God, or you're going to suffer as a slave to sin, and that's doing what's wrong in the sight of God. Okay? Alrighty. Now, now you can't come out of something, as I said before, unless we actually go through something first. Okay? Now, what you may think you're going to suffer, a lot of times suffering comes just before our victory comes. A lot of times some certain things happen in our lives, people stirring up strife and whatnot because they don't want us to be peaceful. They want their misery loves company. So they want us to be miserable like them. So they'll stir up strife and what have you, and they'll, want us to suffer right along with them. Okay? And, sometimes you just don't want to go there. You just want to be peaceful. But, I realized that something you can't just always not say anything at all. And I realized that before I leave out of the house, and sometimes I say, "Lord, if I have to run into any strife," or even right then and there, the situation is coming, I said, "Please, God, give me some words that I can use." Because if I have to use my own words, Lord knows what words those going to be, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, if I can just say that word, Okay? Now, no one is going to escape bearing life without bearing their own cross. Jesus suffered and died on the cross. We too must suffer and die to the flesh so we can live in the spirit. No one escapes suffering. Either you will suffer as a slave to righteousness, or you will suffer as a slave to sin. Just as Jesus rose from the dead, his dead situation, we too shall rise up from our dead situation. We'll too rise up from our dead mess, our dead junk, our dead stuff, and we will reign victorious in whatever God has for us to do. We too will reign over our situation. We too will rise from the dead. We're going to rise up out of that poverty-stricken situation. I'm talking to somebody who's in a hospital bed right now. And you're going to rise up from that hospital bed, and you're going to be healed, and you're going to be made whole. I'm talking to somebody who has lost a loved one, who is in grief right now. Okay, my mother passed away not too long ago, so I can share that grief with you right now. I'm talking to you who has lost a loved one recently. Who is still grieving over that loved one, And what has been said to me was that they may not be able to come to you, my brothers and sisters, but you may be one day able to go to them, okay? And then, I'm talking to somebody who who just got fired from your job, I'm talking to you right now, you know what I mean? You're going to have to go through to get to. It may be a shameful situation right now that you feel that you're going through. You may be thinking that you're dealing with the situation, that, you're looking around and this is shameful. You're embarrassed. You done got fired from your job. What you going to do now? How you going to pay your bills? That's what faith is all about. Trusting in God and knowing that he's on the throne. Just saying it out your mouth. That's how you initiate it in your heart. You say, "I will trust in you, Lord. I know you're on the throne." You got to talk to him and let him know we trust him. You got to communicate with him out your mouth. You don't have to just get on your knees wherever you are. You can talk to him and say, I'm talking to you, my brother, my sister, who perhaps you're facing foreclosure right now. Or maybe the marshals have already come and put you out. You've lost your home to foreclosure. Now you feel, that you have nothing left. Well, that's not true, my brothers and sisters. We have to go through to get to. Remember, you got to know, in order to know the power of Jesus' resurrection, we have to know the power of his suffering. Before every victory, there's always a cry. Before every victory, there's always a cry. Okay? You got to know the power of his suffering. So yes, you're going to go through stuff. Just because we serve God and we're walking on the face of this earth as Christians, we are still being tested by God. We're still being tempted, and we're still going to be persecuted. And that's all part of the divine and perfect test to find out if we have what it takes to be strong soldiers in God's army. I'm talking to you, my brothers and sisters, who feel that you've just gotten a divorce and you and your husband are not getting, or you and your wife are not getting along. You know, and that you're going through some hell and high water in this marriage and whatnot. Well, it's all about faith and trusting in God. You have to look at how your life is being led. Is God the head of your life? You know, are you serving Him truly? Are you serving Him, or do you communicate with Him on a daily basis? You have to look at how your life is going. If you don't talk to God, if you can't really expect Him to come and do something for you if you're not communicating with Him. He's not a friend of yours if you're not a friend of His. He's waiting. He's waiting patiently for each and every one of us to come to Him. And if we don't come to Him, He's not going to force His will upon us. That was one of the most powerful things that Jesus Christ gives us, and that's the ability to make a decision, to make a choice. Even if you're going through hell and high water, in the middle of your turmoil or tumultuous situation, you can still say, peace be still. You can still make a decision in your mind that I don't want to go through this mess no more. I'm not going through this mess. I'm not going to be put through this crap no more. Ain't nobody going to challenge me no more like this. I'm going to speak up for myself, and I'm going to get some respect up in Him. You make up in your mind right then and there, and that's a communication with you and God. And then you ask the Lord how to lead you in that direction. I'm talking to you, my brothers and sisters, who's been hurt and whatnot. You feel like myself, you may have been rejected by some members of your family. Okay, and you don't know which way to turn. You can't trust anybody. They stole your money. You trusted them with something, and they robbed you blind. Well, hey, you got to go through to get to, huh? Hopefully, we learn from our mistakes, and you don't make the same mistake twice. But the closer you strive towards being close to God, the closer He will stay towards you. And you cry to Him. It says in the Bible that we ask Him for something, and He will answer us speedily. We don't have to worry about not getting our prayers answered, because we communicate with Him on a regular basis, and He will be there for us. He will dispatch an entourage of angels around us to protect each and every one of us, so that no poison will hurt us. Nothing will hurt us. You might get into a car accident. Like I was in a car accident recently. This guy staged an accident on me, right? But that's a check that I'm getting in the mail, okay? See, everything happens for a reason, you know what I mean? I didn't think that I was going to need that extra money. But yeah, that money's going to come to me, and I don't have to get my car fixed if I don't want to. I'll wait until I can. If I can get it fixed, I'll get it fixed with the money. Otherwise, I'll wait and get it fixed at another time, you know. And all of these situations that come about us, you know what I mean? We have to try to maintain peace and not to stir up strife. Yes, we do have a right to get angry. And if you're angry, then you express that anger to the Lord. You know, take a chill pill, you know, literally. You know, try to take something that's going to calm you down. Go to the doctor. Tell them you're upset. You know, you need something. That's where the doctors come in at. And I applaud the doctors for going through 12 years or so of education so that they can come out and they can help a stranger so that we can get better. They don't know us. They don't have a clue of who we are. We're not related to them. We ain't paid them. Then, of course, they're getting paid from the Medicaid or whatever, or from the insurance policy. But hey, you know, they have chosen their life, dedicated their entire life to doing this kind of career, to helping you and helping me. But where doctors can't help, that's where God steps in at. Okay? That's where God steps in. Thank you. You see, Jesus despised the shame. You know, He didn't just ignore the shame. He despised it. You know what I mean? He says, hey, I don't care. You know, you can look at me all crazy if you want to. You know what I'm saying? You know, go ahead and look at me crazy. You know, spit on me, mock me. You know what I mean? Nail my hands, my feet to the cross, baby, because I know I'm rising in 3 days. I told you I would. And then the woman that saw him, they said, hey, they didn't even believe it because they thought he was lying. They thought that somebody was going to steal Jesus' body and then pretend like He had risen. But how many of y'all know we serving a God that's real, baby? We don't have to pretend nothing. Okay, we don't have to pretend a thing. You know, just like hell is real, heaven is also real. Okay, just like the devil is real, God is also real. Okay? And like I said before, we may not be able to contain sin. We may not be able to eliminate sin altogether, but we will be able to maintain it and contain it, just like we can control our situations. You know, you may be suffering some kind of sickness or affliction in bed. You may be at home in your bed suffering. I'm talking to you, my sister, who's laying at home in the bed right now, who's sick and afflicted with something that you don't, maybe even just a cold, just something small, small. Well, I'm talking to you. Have faith. God is going to heal you. And when the doctors can't do it, God will step in. You got to have faith. You got to trust in all of these situations. You know, I'm talking to you. You know, maybe you was in a car accident and you didn't come out of it alive, or maybe you came out of it and you were hurt up and whatnot. Now you got to, you know, I witnessed a situation several years ago in New Jersey where there was an accident. This woman had a big old huge bottle of wine, and she must have drank the entire wine. It was in her car with her. She was drinking it as she was driving, and she crashed into about 4 or 5 cars. It looked like a war zone right there. I mean, I saw a torso over here, a head over there, you know, feet over there, you know, and it was terrible. Everybody decapitated these people. One woman walking over there, her bottom part of her body is off, and she's waking up, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, I just, you know, lifted it up to Jesus, you know what I mean? And I said, oh God, this was, you know, this, you know, I was praying for them, you know. And then, of course, they couldn't tell on the news exactly. They said the woman had a broken leg. You know what I mean? But I think the conviction that she got was vehicular manslaughter. And I don't know what the prison term is for that. But see, this is all kind of things we got to stay prayed up so that you can avoid that mess. You know, when you're in the hospital and whatnot, you get sick, you don't want to have that interrupting your life. You know, you want to be able to continue to go on and do your thing, go on with your bad self. You know what I mean? You're going to have people, and you never know. People are striving, they don't like us anyway. You know, we got so many devious and evil people in this world. We got to stay prayed up so that we can be protected. So that God can watch over us and protect us. You know what I mean? They hate you anyway. Don't whether you got anything or not. They hate you because they can't get what you got. They want to know how you got. You want to know what I got, baby? You want to know how to get what I got? You got to go through all of the years of hell that I've been through first. You got to go through all of the mess and the stuff and the junk first. And then maybe, just possibly, you'll be able to experience some of the resurrection that I have. But you can't have what I got because you got to get your own from God. Okay? And in conclusion, just to reiterate, in conclusion, like I said, just as Jesus rose from his dead situation, we too shall rise up from our dead situation and circumstance. We too shall rise up from our poverty. Our dead finances will come alive. Our dead situations, you know, relationships will come alive. Whatever it is that you feel that's dead in your life right now, you know, job-wise, money-wise, relationship-wise, people-wise, you know, house-wise, car-wise, you know, whatever it is that you feel it is dead, and it will rise up. You will rise up out of that situation if we serve God, because Jesus rose from the dead 3 days later. It may take longer than 3 days, but it's up to God when he decides that he wants to raise you up. But remember the principles that I talk about in these series. If you follow the principles, if you follow what the Bible has to say, then we will all be victorious. Now, he despised the shame on the cross for the victory that waited him at the end. You see, that's what I said. We got to despise that. It don't matter. You got to take the bus now, but you just got to trust in God, baby. Then one day I'm going to be driving. I'm going to have my own car. You know what I'm saying? It may not be a fabulous car. It may not be a Mercedes-Benz, but I'll have me a car. You know, maybe I like taking the bus. Maybe it's more convenient for me to take the bus. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at all these kind of situations. Now, we too must despise the shame of the suffering. Okay, you got to despise it. You know, don't even care. I don't worry about that. So I want to take the bus. Leave me alone. You know, I'm saving me some money right now. So when I'll get me a house first, and then I'll get me a car. Don't you worry about whether I'm taking the bus or not. You gonna give me a car, otherwise then leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Now, me too. We too must despise the shame for the suffering. We have to do what we have to do. Other people may think it's shameful. You know, but it's necessary in order to move to our next level of anointing. Because like I said, in order to know the power of resurrection, we must know the power of suffering. So you're going to have to suffer first before we can rise up to our next level. Now, we too must despise the shame. Don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. Everything's going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. It's already all right. We were never defeated. We're already victorious. And when all of that's said and done, then we shall exchange our cross for our crown. Yes, we shall wear a golden crown. Okay, we shall too wear a golden crown. Okay, now, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father of Eternity, Prince of Peace. I read to you Isaiah 9:6, Amplified Version. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his mighty and powerful word. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today, and there's one more part that we will experience, and it's called By His Stripes We Will Be Healed. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Holla at a sister.